Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. You know, we always go deep, and today we're diving into Reedy.
Reedy?
Yeah, it's an in-car vending system, and it says it can boost your rideshare earnings.
Okay.
We've got it all: YouTube tutorials, marketing guides,
Mm-hmm.
FAQs.
Oh, wow.
We're going to figure out if you could really turn your car into a mini-mart.
Okay, so let's just start with the basics.
Yeah.
What is Reedy?
Yeah, what is it? Is it just a vending machine or?
Well, it's more than just a vending machine. It's a whole platform.
Okay.
It connects drivers and passengers for in-car purchases.
So it really is like a convenience store on wheels.
Exactly.
But does it actually make you money?
Right to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, according to their materials, they say drivers can make an extra $50 to $90 a month.
Per month.
Per month.
Wow.
And that's profit.
Okay.
So that's after restocking and fees.
So it's not just like the total.
No. This is your take home.
That's great.
Yeah. They estimate conversion rates between 11 and 20% of your rides.
So like 1 out of every 5 rides is a sale.
Potentially. Yeah, but like any business,
Right.
there's a strategy involved.
Okay, so what are the keys here?
Well, you got to understand your market first.
Okay.
You know, Reedy's data shows that water is the top seller.
Really?
Yeah. 18% of sales, followed by chips and salty snacks at 16%.
So people are still snacking in the car.
They are, but it's interesting because it actually reflects a larger trend that even on the go, people are increasingly health conscious.
So maybe there's an opportunity for drivers to capitalize on that trend.
You're already thinking like an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
So instead of just the usual chips and candy,
Right.
think about offering things like bottled water, trail mix, even protein bars.
You might attract a different customer.
Exactly, and boost those profit margins.
Smart. Okay, so we've got our snacks. What about pricing?
Okay, so Reedy suggests the $2 to $4 range for most items. It's all about that instant gratification.
Right. They're not going to think too hard about it.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting.
No.
You can experiment with slightly higher prices for energy drinks and gum.
Really?
Yeah, people seem willing to pay a bit more for that quick energy boost or fresh breath.
It's like a little psychology experiment.
In your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what other tricks of the trade should drivers know?
Brand recognition is key. If you're in a hurry, are you more likely to grab a Coca-Cola or some generic cola you've never seen before?
Maybe I'm going for the Coke.
Right. And same goes for big names like Dasani for water,
Yeah.
Lay's for chips, Orbit for gum.
Makes sense.
Those familiar logos can really drive sales.
So it's not just about stocking the popular brands.
Right.
It's about using data.
Yes.
Data.
Reedy's app provides drivers with detailed sales data.
Interesting.
So you can see what's selling well,
Okay.
what's not, what times of day you make the most sales, even which products are most profitable.
So this isn't just a passive vending machine. You're actively using data
Exactly.
to optimize your inventory.
Maximize your earnings.
Wow, this is really blowing my mind.
It's a whole other level.
Yeah, it seems like this goes way beyond just making a few extra bucks.
It does.
It's about data-driven decision-making, understanding consumer behavior.
It's running a business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's about maximizing every opportunity.
Okay.
Like, let's say you notice a lot of passengers buying chips on their way home from work.
Okay.
That's a perfect chance to implement some cross-selling techniques.
You mean like the classic chips and a drink?
You got it.
Uh-huh.
You could even offer a small discount for buying both.
Right.
Encourage larger purchases and boost your average sale value.
This is great. Okay. But with all this talk about profit margins and data analysis, is Ridy actually living up to the hype?
Right.
Can drivers really make a decent amount of money with this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Reedy claims drivers can earn an extra $150 per month on average.
On average.
Yeah. But that figure likely comes from drivers who are really utilizing all of Reedy's features,
Okay.
including their data analysis tools, pricing recommendations, even their tips on sourcing products in bulk.
So you can really get into it.
You can,
Okay.
from discount stores to increase profit margins.
So it's not a guaranteed get-rich-quick scheme,
No.
but with some effort, and savvy drivers can potentially see a significant boost in their earnings.
Exactly. And let's not forget the power of referrals.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Reedy offers a referral program
Okay.
that allows you to earn money for every new driver you bring onto the platform.
Oh, wow. So they really have thought of everything.
It seems like it.
It's not just a vending system. It's like a whole ecosystem
Giz,
designed to support drivers and help them succeed.
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and it's not just about the financial aspects.
Right.
It's about providing drivers with the resources and guidance They need to thrive in this new entrepreneurial venture.
You're getting it.
Speaking of resources you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
there are YouTube tutorials and other materials available to drivers.
Right.
What kind of information do these resources cover?
Well, they really run the gamut.
Okay.
You'll find everything from basic setup instructions
Okay.
to in-depth advice on product selection, pricing strategies, even customer service tips.
So you're not just thrown into the deep end.
No.
Reedy provides a pretty comprehensive support system
Yeah,
to help drivers navigate this new business model.
exactly. And they don't stop there.
What else?
They also have a strong social media presence.
Okay.
Where they regularly share tips, tricks, and even hold contests and giveaways for their driver partners.
I love that they're fostering a sense of community among their drivers.
Yeah.
It's not just a transactional platform. It's a place where drivers can connect, learn from each other,
Right.
even win some cool prizes.
It's smart
Yeah.
for building brand loyalty
Hey,
and keeping drivers engaged.
definitely.
But it also raises an interesting question.
What's that?
How is Ridy impacting the larger rideshare industry?
Yeah, is this the beginning of a new era for rideshare,
Interesting question.
where the driver-passenger relationship extends beyond just transportation?
It's definitely a disruption of the traditional model.
Yeah.
And like any disruption, it comes with its own set of questions and challenges.
Like what?
Well, for starters,
Okay.
will this lead to increased competition among drivers?
Hmm.
How will it affect rider expectations?
Yeah.
Could it even lead to regulatory challenges down the line?
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about the potential regulatory implications.
Yeah, it's a whole other can of worms.
This is getting really interesting.
It is, and it speaks to the fact that Reedy is not just a cool gadget.
Right.
It's a potential game changer
Yeah.
that could reshape the entire rideshare landscape.
Okay.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's dive back into the specifics.
Okay, back to the nitty-gritty.
All right, so you mentioned something about managing pockets earlier.
Yeah, what does that mean?
So the vending device itself is divided into these compartments,
Okay.
or pockets.
Pockets, okay.
And Reedy's app gives you complete control over what goes where.
Wait, so I can customize which snacks go in which pockets?
You got it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you connect to the device via Bluetooth,
Okay.
and then you can assign specific products to different compartments.
Okay.
They even have a barcode scanner in the app for easy product entry.
Oh, wow.
It's super user-friendly.
That's impressive. But what if I want to sell something that's not on Reedy's pre-approved list?
Good question.
Can I just add any random item to my inventory?
There's actually a request new product section in the app.
Oh, okay.
You can either scan the barcode of the product you want to add
Mhm.
or manually enter the information.
Okay.
It usually takes a few hours to a day for approval.
So there is some oversight
Yeah.
that makes sense. What happens if a product gets rejected?
Well, Reedy does have some limitations on what can be sold through the platform.
Okay.
For example, you can't sell any products that are classified as drugs or narcotics.
Right. Of course, makes sense from a safety and legal standpoint.
Exactly. So they're not just letting anyone sell anything.
Right.
There's level of quality control
Okay.
to ensure that all products meet their standards.
That's important for both drivers and passengers.
It is.
It creates a sense of trust and reassurance, knowing that the products being offered have been vetted by Reedy.
Exactly. But beyond the obvious no-nos,
Right.
the reasons for product rejection can vary.
Okay.
They could be related to licensing agreements, brand restrictions, or even just logistical concerns.
So it's not a free-for-all.
No,
Drivers need to be mindful of the rules and regulations.
absolutely.
Speaking of rules, are there any limitations on how drivers can sell their products? Can I offer discounts or run promotions?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one that we'll delve into deeper in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
We'll explore the do's and don'ts of in-car vending,
Okay.
discuss those all-important Stripe fees,
Right.
and even uncover some hidden features of the Reedy app that can help you maximize your earnings.
Sounds like we've got a lot more to unpack.
We do.
I'm already hooked.
Great. Welcome back. It's really amazing how much there is to think about when you start turning your car into a mini business.
It is.
You know, it really gets you thinking like an entrepreneur.
It does. And before the break, we were about to uncover
Yeah.
some of the do's and don'ts of in-car vending.
Okay.
So are there any limitations on how drivers can promote their products?
Okay.
Can they offer discounts or run special promotions?
That's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
The materials don't explicitly forbid discounts or promotions,
Okay.
But they do emphasize the importance of maintaining a consistent and professional image.
Right.
Remember, you're essentially running a mobile storefront. You want to project an air of reliability and quality.
Right. So you don't want to be too pushy or gimmicky.
Exactly. Instead of shouting about discounts, focus on creating a positive and welcoming experience for your passengers.
Okay.
Think about it if they feel comfortable
Right.
and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
They're more likely to browse your selection and make a purchase.
So it's more about building rapport and trust
Absolutely.
than pushing sales.
And that's where those customer service skills come into play.
Okay.
Simple things like greeting your passengers warmly,
Yeah.
offering to adjust the temperature,
Right.
or music and engaging in friendly conversation can go a long way in creating a positive vibe.
So you're hosting a mini party in your car.
Kinda, yeah.
But let's be realistic. You're not just doing this for fun.
Right.
You want to make some money.
Sure.
So how do you balance that friendly,
Yeah.
hospitable approach
Mhm.
with the need to drive sales and maximize those earnings?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about finding that sweet spot between being helpful and informative without coming across as overly salesy.
Right.
For example, you could casually mention your vending system when you greet your passenger.
Okay.
Something like, hey, just so you know, I have a few snacks and drinks available if you're interested.
Uh-huh.
Feel free to browse at your leisure.
It's subtle,
It is.
yet effective.
And if they seem interested,
Yeah.
you can always highlight a few popular items or even point out any new additions to your inventory.
Okay.
But always remember the goal is to enhance their ride experience,
Right.
not to bombard them with the sales pitch.
Got it. Okay, so we've talked about customer service, pricing strategies, even data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay.
Those pesky Stripe fees.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned earlier how these transaction fees can eat into your profits,
They can.
especially on smaller purchases.
Right. So Stripe, the payment processing platform used by Reedy, charges a fee of 30 cents
Okay.
plus 2.9%.
Per transaction.
Okay.
So if a passenger buys a $1 candy bar,
Yeah.
you're actually losing about 30% of fees.
That's a huge chunk.
It is.
Are there any ways to minimize the impact of these fees?
Absolutely. One strategy is to encourage larger purchases.
Okay.
For example, you could offer bundle deals,
Right.
like a snack pack that includes a bag of chips, a drink, and a candy bar for a slightly discounted price.
So you're processing fewer transactions,
Yeah.
reducing the overall percentage of fees.
You got it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
It benefits both the driver and the passenger.
Yeah,
The passenger gets a better deal, and the driver sees a higher profit margin.
that's the idea.
Are there any other ways to offset those fees?
Well, remember Ridy has that referral program
Oh, right. Yeah.
where you can earn money for every new driver you bring onto the platform?
Okay.
Those referral bonuses can definitely help offset some of those transaction fees.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about the importance of customer service.
How to use data to your advantage.
Right.
Even how to combat those pesky transaction fees.
Yeah.
But what about the bigger picture?
Okay.
How is Ridy impacting the rideshare industry as a whole?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Reedy is essentially blurring the lines
Okay.
between transportation and retail,
Wow.
creating a hybrid experience
Yeah.
that has the potential to reshape the entire industry.
So it's not just about drivers making extra cash.
Right.
It's about a fundamental shift
Yeah,
in the way we think about rideshare.
exactly. Reedy is empowering drivers to become micro-entrepreneurs,
Wow.
managing their own inventories, setting their own prices, and building their own brands.
It's like taking the gig economy to a whole new level.
It really is.
But how are passengers responding to this shift?
Yeah.
Are they embracing the idea of in-car vending?
Mm,
Or do they find it intrusive?
that's a crucial question.
It is.
And one that the materials don't directly address. Yeah, it would be fascinating to see some data on passenger satisfaction and how they perceive this new service.
I'm curious too.
Yeah.
Are they happy to have access to snacks and drinks on the go?
Yeah.
Or do they feel like they're being bombarded with sales pitches?
Right. It would be great to know.
Yeah.
Perhaps future research will shed some light on this aspect.
Yeah.
But for now, we can only speculate.
Okay, so let's put on our speculative hats for a moment.
All right.
What are some potential long-term implications of this trend?
Okay.
Could we see in-car vending become the norm for rideshare?
It's definitely a possibility.
Wow.
Imagine a future where rideshare apps
Oh,
allow passengers to pre-order snacks and drinks before their ride. creating a seamless and personalized experience.
That's wild. It's almost like having a mobile convenience store at your beck and call.
Exactly, and it doesn't stop there.
What else?
What if drivers could partner with local businesses
Okay.
to offer exclusive deals or promotions?
Now we're talking.
Right.
Imagine getting a discount at your favorite coffee shop just because you ordered it through your rideshare app.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And it raises some interesting questions about the future of commerce
Uh-huh.
and how technology is blurring the lines between traditional industries.
This is a deep dive, and we're only getting deeper.
I know, right?
Before we wrap up this part, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The idea of drivers building their own brands.
Right.
How exactly can they do that through Reedy?
That's a great question. While Reedy provides the platform and the tools, it's ultimately up to the driver to create their own unique brand identity.
So it's not just about slapping a Reedy sticker on your car
No.
and calling it a day.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
You're essentially running your own mini business within a larger ecosystem. So you need to differentiate yourself from the competition and create a memorable experience for your passengers.
Okay, but how do you actually do that?
Right.
It's not like I can redesign the vending machine
Yeah.
or put up billboards in my car.
You don't need to go that far. It's all about the little things.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for starters, think about your product selection.
Okay.
Are you going for the classic convenience store staples?
Yeah.
Or are you offering something more unique or niche?
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So instead of just stocking the usual chips and candy, I could curate a selection of healthy snacks
Exactly.
or locally sourced products.
That's a great way to create a distinct brand identity
Okay.
and appeal to a specific type of customer.
Okay, so product selection is key. What else?
Think about your presentation.
Okay.
Could you personalize the vending machine with some fun stickers or a handwritten note welcoming your passengers?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It adds a personal touch.
It does.
Makes the experience more memorable.
Right. And don't forget about the power of conversation. Engage with your passengers, share your story, and let them know what makes your in-car vending experience special.
So it's not just about the products.
Right.
It's about creating a whole vibe, a brand personality that sets you apart from the competition.
You got it. And that's what's so exciting about this whole concept.
Yeah.
It's not just about making extra money. It's about empowering drivers to be creative,
Right.
to be entrepreneurial, and to build something truly unique.
I'm starting to see this less as a side hustle
Mm-hmm.
and more as a legitimate business opportunity.
It is.
But like any business, there are bound to be challenges
Sure.
and potential pitfalls.
Uh-huh.
What are some of the things that drivers need to be aware of
Okay.
before jumping on the Reedy bandwagon?
That's an important question, and one that we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Ooh, another cliffhanger.
We'll discuss the potential downsides of in-car vending,
Okay.
the importance of understanding the legal and regulatory landscape,
Right.
and even some ethical considerations that drivers need to keep in mind.
Sounds like we're heading into some uncharted territory.
We are.
Can't wait to dive deeper.
Me too.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive on Reedy.
Ridy.
This in-car vending system that really has got us thinking,
It's fascinating.
about the future of rideshare.
Yeah.
So far, we've really explored the potential benefits, the extra income and building your own brand, even like tapping into those consumer trends.
Right. Yeah.
But no business venture is without its challenges.
True.
So what are some of the potential downsides drivers need to be aware of?
Well, I think one thing that the materials don't address directly is
Okay.
potential for increased expenses.
Okay.
Sure, there's the cost of stocking the inventory,
Right.
but what about wear and tear on your vehicle?
Yeah.
More frequent cleaning?
Uh-huh.
Even your gas mileage could be affected with the added weight.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of like those potential earnings
Totally.
and overlook those hidden costs.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really important to factor in all those expenses
Yes.
to get a realistic picture of your potential profit.
Absolutely. And you're running a small business here,
Right.
which means you'll need to keep track of your income and expenses for tax purposes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so we've got the financial considerations.
Mm-hmm.
What about the legal and regulatory side of things?
Okay.
Are there any gray areas drivers need to be aware of?
Yeah, that's an area where things can get a little bit murky.
Okay.
The sources don't really delve into specific legal issues.
Right.
But it's important to remember that regulations surrounding rideshare and vending
Yeah.
can vary widely depending on your location.
So it's up to the driver to do their homework.
Yes.
Make sure they're operating within the law.
Absolutely essential to research your local laws and regulations
Okay.
to ensure you're compliant, for example. Some cities may have restrictions on where or when you can sell goods.
Right.
Or require specific permits for mobile vending.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a good reminder for all the entrepreneurial drivers out there.
Yeah.
Don't skip the legal legwork.
Yeah.
Now, while we're on the topic of responsibility,
Okay.
are there any ethical considerations drivers should keep in mind?
You know, that's an interesting question and one that's worth pondering.
Okay.
While Ridy encourages drivers to be creative and build their brands, there's a fine line between being entrepreneurial
Yeah.
and being exploitative.
What do you mean by exploitative?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Passengers are in a confined space.
Right.
Essentially a captive audience.
Yeah.
It's important for drivers to be mindful of that power dynamic and avoid being overly aggressive with their sales tactics.
So it's all about respecting the passenger space and not making them feel pressured to buy something they don't want.
Exactly. It goes back to what we discussed earlier about focusing on creating a positive
Right.
and welcoming experience.
Yeah.
The moment it starts to feel transactional or pushy, you've crossed a line.
Yeah, it seems like finding that balance between providing a service and respecting boundaries is key.
It is, and it's not just about the passenger.
Oh, could be.
It's also about being mindful of your fellow drivers.
How so?
Well, imagine if every driver starts turning their car into a rolling convenience store.
Yeah,
Could that lead to increased competition and potentially drive down earnings for everyone?
that's a good point. It seems like this new business model has the potential to disrupt the entire rideshare ecosystem in both positive and potentially negative ways.
It really does, and it highlights the need for ongoing dialogue.
Yeah.
And perhaps even some industry-wide guidelines as in-car vending becomes more prevalent.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a whole new industry
It is.
with all its complexities and challenges.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the final takeaway for our listeners?
Okay.
Is Ridy the future of rideshare earnings or just a passing fad?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The truth is, it's still too early to say for sure. Ridy has the potential to be a game changer, but its success ultimately hinges on a multitude of factors.
Okay, like what?
Well, driver adoption, passenger acceptance, the regulatory landscape, and even those ethical considerations we discussed.
So it's not a guaranteed path to riches,
No.
but a potential opportunity for those willing to put in the effort,
Yes.
do their research,
Absolutely.
and navigate this evolving landscape of the rideshare industry.
Exactly.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've explored the ins and outs of Ridy, from potential earnings to potential pitfalls.
We covered it all.
Now it's up to you to decide if this in-car vending system is right for you.
Right.
As always, we encourage you to do your own research, weigh the pros and cons, and make an informed decision.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and insightful.
It was fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
Yeah.